Good morning and welcome to this week's Weber County Board of Commissioners meeting. We have a full Board of Commissioners with Commissioner Sharon Bolos seated to my immediate right, Commissioner Gage Frohr seated to my left. We welcome those of you who have chosen to be here live and those of you who are online. And we even extend a welcome to those of you who might join us online at some future time. But we're glad to be a part of this process. Lauren Schaefer will ask that you lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll pitch hit today. Our invocation will ask Zeke Swander, the manager over the gun range, to come and give us our opening prayer. Following that, I'll give the thought of the day. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Please bless as we meet this day that we can go over things that are pertinent and are for the better and good of the county. We are so grateful to be here and all that you've blessed us with. And do so in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I said gun range shooting complex, Zeke, but thank you for pitch hitting today. Nice throw. Appreciate that. Commissioners, while I've talked about this in our work session, good afternoon, Mr. Horn. Nice to finally have you here.
I apologize for being 60 seconds tardy.
We're going to start punctuality. Anyway, I mentioned this yesterday in our work session, but unfortunately, a tragic accident happened in Ogden Canyon on Saturday about 12:45. Where a bulldozer had slipped off a tow truck and killing a father, Richard Hendrickson, and his youngest daughter, Sally. Traveling in the car was his wife and two other kids. And he has a fourth child who was doing not a study abroad, but leading a service experience for a bunch of youth in Thailand. Richard, it's close to me, as I remember in the late 70s teaching Richard how to drive a boat when he was 10 years old. At the end of that year, he was a phenomenal operator, and at 10 years old was the only guy that I wanted to pull me while water skiing. But everything he did from there on out was phenomenal. He was just a good example, a good man, and he always thought of others. He lived his life with a keen understanding that service was key. He served his community, he served his church, he served his company. Let me give you an example. You know, sometimes when you get into big corporate America and you're a global company with factories all over the world, and you're a CEO, you hear about these big payments to the CEO or the president. Well, Richard would take his big payment and give it to all the employees. He'd hold a year-end in review, and he'd tell them what a good job they did, and they got checks for $1,800, $2,500 a piece. And when you add that up into thousands of employees, that's a big chunk. And he would do that every year while he introduced the new products. When I'd talk to him, his family was always first. And there was never an activity, socially, ecclesiastically, work that was more important than his family. They always came first, and they knew it. Just a fine man. Many of you saw the lifetime products were always given at different things, whether it was a school district or whether it was a party or this. He believed in giving back to the community a millionfold, and there's many coolers and kayaks and boards and basketball hoops out there because of the generosity of that company led by Richard Hendrickson. His daughter Sally was as sweet as pie. Kind, nice, friendly, loved by her classmates. Just as warm and loving and obedient, just a wonderful gal. And so I'd like you, commissioners, just to take a moment. This is a big loss for not just Weber County and Davis County, where Lifetime Products is now. They started right on Riverdale Road there, about 37th and Riverdale Road, back in the 70s and 80s. But I'd like to take a moment for a moment of silence to remember Richard. We'll do that now. Thank you. Now on another note, while we talk about a person who left this mortal existence, I want to also talk about another person who's leaving the county family. I'm glad you're not leaving the mortal existence, but you're certainly defecting from the mother country. Lynn Taylor, this is Lynn's last meeting with us. Here's another person who's exemplified giving. His whole life he's been a giver. I've personally enjoyed, Lynn, your exactness. You're incredibly honest and fair. You're accurate, but you also are really smart. We've been so lucky to have you here at the county. You know, most of you don't get to know what I get to experience, and after this whole meeting's over, we have to sign all these papers. But when Lynn's here, and don't tell Ricky this, but I really like it when you're here. But Lynn, we talk a lot about airplanes with Craig, and Lynn was a former A-10 pilot, the Warthog, and has seen things that I hope none of us even hear about. But very accomplished, very skilled, very talented, a wonderful father. But you are a great mentor, a great employee here for Weber County. He's because of all those talents, he's pursuing another great opportunity. He's not hanging up his flight suit just quite yet, but he's going to do some other things. And I'm going to go ahead, but with the publisher Richard Paul Evans with some other things. And so he's got some things that he's been involved with already some books. And we just want you to know, Lynn, we love you. Your next family will be great, because that's the kind of guy you are. You'll make them great. And they won't be as good as us, and they won't have a Chris Crockett, which might be a blessing, but they'll be great because of you, and we just appreciate you. Can you give Lynn a round of applause, please? Kind of a lengthy thought there this morning and a little sobering, but we appreciate you. Thank you. Commissioners, I'll move now to item E. These are agenda-related public comments. So anything that the public has that might be related to this agenda, you're welcome to come forward, and we'll give you 3 minutes to do that. Are there any in the audience that'd like to do that now? Seeing none, anything online, Shelley? Thank you. We'll now move to item number F, which are recognitions. Ramp It Up presentation. We're lucky to have Pat Posey. Here's another gentleman that's been giving for all his life, just quietly in the background giving, and a kind, generous, wonderful person. Pat, why don't you come up here with us, and you're going to bring Scott Woodruff with you, the artist, and would love for you to make that presentation at this time.
Thank you very much. Scott's not able to be with us today. He is stuck in traffic, and he lives up in Park City, so he's not here. He's our artist today. But I just want to take a minute and tell you about what Ramp It Up is. We've been fortunate, like many other nonprofits, for this great money that we get annually to use for our productions and what we do with that money that the community gives to us. So we came up with an idea that we wanted to do a paint out competition. I know you don't even know what that is, but it involved all of the cities in Weber County. So what we did is we contacted artists. They came and we had a paint out day called Ramp It Up. So each artist had a city that they went to and painted something in that city. So representative, whatever it might be, with Plain City, Roy, Riverdale, everywhere, anything in Weber County, Huntsville, Eden. They had a great time. We had 27 artists participate. And so what we wanted to do is we wanted to give something back from the Arts Center to the commissioners and Ramp. So what we decided to do was when we have our competitions, we have them judged by professionals that come from all over to judge our competitions. And then we purchase the piece. And now we want to do this annually with Ramp funding so that we can have something in your offices that comes from the Eccles Arts Center once every year. So this year, Scott Woodruff painted a great painting of the elevators coming down out in West Ogden there. And so it was chosen as our Best in Show. And so we've purchased that piece and we want to present it to you today to hang in your offices. And Travis Pate is our coordinator at the Arts Center, and he has the painting.
Travis.
And we'll read the inscription on the bottom.
Thank
I
you.
don't have my glasses on. I'm going to let you read it.
Presented to Weber County, pardon me, presented to Weber County Ramp, quote, final portrait, artist Scott Woodruff, the Eccles Community Arts Center, Ramp It Up 2024.
And this is a great painting. It's a pencil, pen, and ink and watercolor. And each year we hope that we can, provide one for your office. I know I've been in your office and the walls are kind of blank. So we thought we kind of started a tradition, but those are kind of blank. Shelley and Stacy, keep it up. But we wanted something that can come from us to show that we're using the Ramp funds, in the right direction, and we want to give back to Weber County. So each year we'll do the same thing. They'll go every city in the county and paint, and then we have them on display at the Arts Center, and then we'll present one to you every year. So you'll have one. You have to wait a year to get them, but each year they'll be all different sizes in different places. But this is I think this is a great piece to start it with, because this is something we all recognize. We've seen it. We grew up with it. It's a landmark. When you used to get off the freeway, you knew where you were. Now you're not going to know that. So it's really a great piece, and we hope you enjoy it. And again, we want to thank you and Ramp for everything you do for our community, especially us. We really appreciate, and we really do use the dollars, and they are so important to us. And we hope this year that all the nonprofits will get on board and promote Ramp, because it's on the ballot this year. So we're heading in that direction. Thank you again for all you do for Weber County. Thank you
Pat.
so much.
Thank you, Travis. We'd like to get a picture. Okay. Shelley, thank you. If you'll want to come up for the picture, Jessica, if you'll get lined up, commissioners, let's go. Receive this formally. Now we're going to come right down here in the center.
Now you've got something for your walls. I was looking when I came up here the other day. Look at all those faces up there.
Beautiful. You can go ahead and go over there.
Yes, ma'am. It's you.
One, two, three. Take one more. One, two, three.
Very good.
So we're keeping it professionally. How do we do that? You want me to professionally? That's amazing. Isn't that great? No, that's amazing. He is an artist from up in Park City, and so we have a lot of them. And like I said, they come from all areas, but it just happened to be the judge just picked it. And there were lots of cool things. That were like really good ones up in Park City, all different things, but and it just was fitting for the time.
Yeah, that's a little bit of history now.
Yeah. I think it's a good one to start with.
Yeah.
Great. So,
Well thought out, thank you.
thank you.
Wow.
We'll see you before next year. We'll bring you another one next year.
Wonderful.
Look forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Travis, thank you. Good. Commissioners, item number 2 is a recognition. It was a proclamation by Davis County and Weber County Commissioners, both together. Here's another thing that we collaborate together between government agencies, recognizing Colonel Jeffrey Holland as he finishes his time here at Hill Air Force Base. Colonel Holland is inducted to get the Western Big Hat Award, which is done by both the chambers. I'm going to just, this was done actually yesterday, and so, but I'm just going to take a moment to read this. I don't mean to belabor our meeting, but I think it fitting to be, as a part of the record to do this. So whereas this is declaring July 8th, 2024 as Colonel Jeffrey G. Holland Day. Jeffrey G. Holland entered the Air Force and was commissioned from the Air Force Academy in the year 2000. He served in every facet of the Air Force's field-level aircraft maintenance enterprise in both garrison and expeditionary environments and was promoted to the rank of colonel on January 1st, 2020. And whereas Jeffrey Holland, as a 2008 graduate of the Air Force Institute of Technology with a Master of Science degree in Logistics Management, a 2014 graduate of the John F. Kennedy School of Government, Harvard University with a Master in Public Administration, and a 2017 graduate of the Eisenhower School, National Defense University with a Master in National Security, and whereas during his career he has served at Headquarters United States Air Forces in Europe, Headquarters United States Transportation Command, and Headquarters United States Air Force, as well as commanding the squadron group and wing levels, and whereas Colonel Holland is the 75th Air Base Wing Commander and Installation Commander at Hill Air Force Base, and whereas this wing provides installation support for the Ogden Air Logistics Complex, 2 fighter wings, and 50 other associate units totaling 27,000 active duty civilian and contractor personnel, and whereas during his time at Hill Air Force Base he has commanded with grace, dignity, and a firm commitment to his people and the vital national security missions accomplished at this installation. He worked personally with the base community leaders and established an innovative and far-reaching Project One program to increase mission readiness by strengthening his airmen's sense of belonging to the community. And whereas during his distinguished and illustrious career he has been honored with numerous awards and decorations, including the Air Force Achievement Medal, the Air Force Commendation Medal, the Meritorious Service Medal with 4 oak leaf clusters, and Defense Meritorious Service Medal, and the Legion of Merit. And whereas Colonel Holland has been an exemplary leader, a dedicated family man, and a valued friend to our community, where he's dramatically improved conditions for citizens, military members, and military missions residing in Davis and Weber County. Now therefore, the Davis and Weber County Commissioners do hereby proclaim July 8th, 2024 as Colonel Jeffrey G. Holland Day, and that was signed by every commissioner. So let's give him a round of applause. Thank you for getting that prepared, Shelley. We appreciate that. We'll now move on to item G, Commissioners, our consent items, and they'll be as follows. Item number 1 is a request for approval of warrants 102-422 and 102 through and including 102-471 and 485-192 through and including 485-280 and 366 in the amount of $2,991,812.01. Item 2 is a request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $48,527.92. Item number 3 is the summary of warrants and purchase orders. We'll go to Mr. Lynn Taylor for an explanation of the detail of those.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for your very kind and generous words. Appreciate that. So we had 4 purchase orders totaling $48,500. The largest of these, 83% or $40,000, went to the Weber Morgan Health Department for vaccines, and 12% or $5,800 to the transfer station for 2,000 gallons of diesel fuel. We had 140 warrants totaling almost $3 million. Largest of these, 36% or $1 million, went to payroll clearing for medical insurance. 22% or $645,000 was local transportation sales tax to special projects and improvements. 14% or $433,000 went to capital improvements, specifically building improvements, and 11% or $323,000 was the WACOG sales tax for special projects.
Commissioners, questions for Mr. Taylor regarding any of those items presented?
None for me.
Hearing none, I'll move on to item number 4, which is a request for approval of the new business licenses. Item 5 is a request for approval of the contract by between Weber County and Magical Celebrations to provide strolling entertainment at the 2024 Weber County Fair. Those are the action items, 1 through and including 5. If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve consent items G1 through 5.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. I'll place that motion for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Our action items today, Commissioner, what's listed as item H on our agenda, it's a request for approval to adjourn the public meeting and convene a meeting of the Board of Canvassers. Where this is formal like this, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Second, I'll place that as a roll call vote. Commissioner Bolos?
Aye.
Commissioner Frohr?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Great. We are now convened as the Board of Canvassers. Item number 2 on the agenda, Ms. Schaefer, if you'll make your way this way, it's to certify the 2024 Republican primary election. Lauren Schaefer, we have the best team in all the land for our elections, and we sure appreciate the way you run that and your people that do that. Lauren, thank you so much. Go ahead with your presentation, please.
Thank you. We appreciate that. So I have a lot of numbers to read out, and I apologize in advance. First, I'm going to run through, I gave each of you a copy of everything I'm going through. I'm going to run through the stats for the election, and then I'll actually go through the results. The one thing I'm required by law to do is provide you with precinct level results, but it's 175 pages. So I'm going to post it on our website and email you all a link later, because I doubt you want a packet of that each. So firstly, for the 2024 Republican primary election, we had 63,380 registered Republican voters with a turnout of 46.2%. We counted 29,286 votes, which was a 46% turnout, like I've said, and we rejected 392, which I'll get into in just a moment. We had 56 provisional ballots, but only 38 of those counted. We rejected 1 because they had already voted, and 3 were incomplete registrations, and 14 were not affiliated with the Republican Party. Our by-mail ballot stats I have similarly read. It's that we have those 64,162 ballots were mailed out. The 28,286 were cast, meaning we had 34,840, which is 54% ballots not returned by voters, and 1,036, which is 2% of ballots that were returned undeliverable. We did not count, like I said, 392, which there is an error at the bottom, which I will fix and get out to you guys. 131 of those were returned past the deadline. 195 of those, their signature did not match the voter record. 24 of those were returned unsigned. We had 2 empty envelopes. We had 18 signed by someone other than the voter, and 4 ballots returned with no envelope. All of the ballots that were not counted, besides the ballots returned with no envelope, were given a letter, a text, and an email to have time to cure their ballot. So we cured as many as we could, but not everyone got back to us in time.
So it wasn't on your end, it was on
It was
their
on the
end.
voters' end. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to read the results. So I'm going to repeat these 2 numbers again, I apologize. But of the registered voters, we had 63,380 and 29,286 ballots cast. For U.S. Senate, John Curtis won with 12,986 votes. Do you just want me to read the winners or all of them? It's kind of up to you guys.
I'm fine with the winners.
Yeah, the winners will be.
Great. For U.S. House 1, we have Blake Moore with 19,835. For governor and lieutenant governor, we have Spencer J. Cox and Deidre M. Henderson with 15,592. For attorney general, we have Derek Brown, 11,920. For state auditor, we have Ricky Hatch, 16,873. And then for State School Board 3, we have Brent Strait with 2,432. These are just countywide, so obviously the races have different, different people have won overall in the state, but in Weber County, those are the results.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
thank you.
Commissioners, does that conclude your presentation, Ms. Schaefer?
Yep.
Commissioners Bolos or Farrar, do you have any questions for Ms. Schaefer? Go
Yeah.
ahead, please.
I'll start with on ballots returned but not counted. The second one, signatures did not match the voter record. Of those 195 that were not counted, does that take into account the ones that were cured?
No, those are the ones that weren't cured. I believe
Okay.
we had around 574 that we ultimately sent out, but only the 374 were the ones that didn't
Okay.
end up getting cured.
And one other question on by mail ballot summary. Ballots mailed to voters is 64,162. At the top, you have active registered voters of 63,380. So I'm wondering why there were more ballots mailed
Good
than registered
question.
voters.
So some people can move in and out of the county before the registration period, so that could account for some of it. And then if we spoil a ballot because it got mailed to the wrong address, or for whatever reason, like some people can request 5 ballots. Their dog ate it, they lost it. So we generate more ballots than we have active registered voters because we ultimately are usually sending a couple
Great.
per
Thank you.
person. Yep.
Thank you. Commissioner Farrar, questions?
Just a comment. Appreciate the detail that you have before us. I think it just makes us realize how secure we are in Weber County with our election process and procedures. And I know other parts of the state aren't quite as active or diligent as Weber County is, but again, just another thing we do in Weber County that we're the best at. So, and that's a result of our great people we have in the election office. So
Thank you.
appreciate the work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. You know, I really appreciate well in advance, and even up into that there are so many invitations for the public to come, view, scrutinize, assess the process. We're open, you guys are open, transparent. It's such a wonderful educational experience to be able to see that process from the beginning and to the end, including, and what wasn't mentioned here was the audit that was performed. A very comprehensive audit was taken care of, and at least in my experience, it was done with 100% accuracy. And that gives me even yet additional confidence in what goes on. Now listen, these have been my experiences in this county. I haven't participated in any kind of election training or audit in any other county in this state or across the country. So when all this, I'm going to use another word, not hoax, hullabaloo. When we hear all this other stuff out there, this hullabaloo out there with elections, it doesn't apply here. And I would firmly defend the process that we have here. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not without error, but the thing is, and you've just talked about it, we can account for every single one, exactly what takes place. And we take responsibility, and then you take positive action to correct all that. I really appreciate having that kind of confidence in you and your team. Thank you so much for what you do.
I appreciate that.
All right, commissioners, if there's no question, I have item number 3 is a request for approval. Now, wait a second. Don't we have to approve this as a board of canvassers first, Mr. Crock?
Yes, you have to accept the results as declared.
So I think before we go to item 3, then we need to accept the results. Is that correct on the agenda?
Yes.
So commissioners, I'll entertain a motion to accept the results as presented by Ms. Schaefer today.
Move to certify the results of the 2024 Republican primary election.
Second.
I'll place that as a roll call vote. Mr. Brandt, go ahead with that, please.
Roll call vote to certify the results of the 2024 primary election. Commissioner Farrar?
Aye.
Commissioner Bolos?
Aye.
Chair Harvey?
Aye, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners, I'll now accept a request to adjourn our public board meeting of canvassers and reconvene a public meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. Moving on, speaking of aye,
Yeah.
Let's move to item number I on our agenda.
Wow.
How about that? Go ahead. Commissioner comment. Nope.
I don't have any today, thank you.
Okay, great. Commissioner Bolos? Hearing none, we'll look for a motion for item number J, like Juliet.
Move
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned.